Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to a SUPboarder review and the brand new reviews of the 2017 board ranges that are about to be released. It is October and we are looking at the first one we've got here is the RRD Air Race V3 14x26. RRD themselves are a very well respected SUP and windsurf brand that have been making water sport equipment for a long time. The board itself is 14 foot long, 26 inches wide, 6 inches thick, 300 litres in volume, it weighs 13 kilograms and it retails at £1,048 and a recommended PSI pressure of 18. The general overview of the board, well, it's a super long slender board with a single US box fin setup. Looking at the materials that are on and in the board, obviously this board is an iSUP, so it's made of drop stitch, which at the moment all iSUPs are still made of drop stitch, which is an internal nylon weave going from top to bottom. 70% of the board has 2 layers of PVC, giving extra stiffness and durability. It also has a Dyneema sandwich belt going underneath the bottom of the board, which is like a rigid strip you can see. And at the back section of the board there is a PVC rail edge, which is designed to help speed. So that's the information you can find on the World Wide Web. What are the SUPboarder thoughts? Well, whenever we unpack a RRD board, we know we're going to have something special because they are very proud of their Italian-based background and their styling and the quality of how the product looks. They're also a fashion company as well. RRD are very big in fashion and lifestyle wear, so that's something a lot of people don't know about, and it definitely comes out in the boards they make. The styling is very crisp. You either like it or you loathe it. We personally love it. I think it looks very funky with its black and white. This year they have an orange rail, which is different. You can tell that the Air Races are different this year because they've got orange rails. Styling and the little things they've added to, like a really nice comfy neoprene carry handle, which is really nice RRD badging. Everything looks crisp and very neat. Even like the information around the valve there, the PSI pressure and the leashing point. Very smart. Small bungee area at the front there if you want to put your sandals or drink under if you wanted to. A 3-piece EVA deck pad, which is all nicely put on and perfectly placed, and the gaps are all exactly the same. So the finish of the board is absolutely perfect, we'd say. There's not really a mark on it, there's something wrong. When you turn the board over, you can really see the extra layers of PVC that are stuck on the board, which does actually give the board the extra sort of like solid sort of feel. In the middle here, you can actually see the sandwich Dyneema belt, which actually, if you push it and you feel it, it does feel very stiff compared to the normal PVC. So obviously it's going to be doing something to the stiffness of the board. Moving onto the back of the board, here you can see the PVC rail edge. It starts about 3 feet or a meter behind your standing area, and it goes right around the tail to the other side. And it basically gives a square edge to the board. So what's happening is the water is releasing faster. There's less drag, there's less turbulence. So the water's coming down the board and releasing on the tail. That is basically what a hard racing SUP does. It has a nice square edge at the tail, which iSUPs lack, and they suffer because the drag on the tail will be holding them back. So this is to counteract that. Looking into the center fin, it's a standard US box center fin. It's placed nicely far back on the board to aid that straight line performance. As I've said in other videos, if the fins are slightly further forward, it's going to make the turning a bit easier, but the straight line performance a bit harder. So it's set at the back for that race characteristics of the board. So obviously the overall shape of the board, it's designed for paddling fast, very thin, very long, a real bullet in the water. The bottom shape is completely flat right to the tail. The nose shape has a very interesting nose shape. Once you pump it up, you see straight away the nose is pulled in at the top and the bottom. It does seem to penetrate in small amounts of chop well and displace the water off the front. So in average choppy conditions, which you expect an iSUP to work well in, it does perform very well. Paddling on the flat and in general paddling conditions when you want to go out and paddle fast, this board does feel quick. It does feel like it has a very quick release from when you paddle the stroke to get going. And I think that's got to be due to the rail edge at the back there. It really does feel like it's making a difference. Even though the volume's 300 litres, it is 26 inches wide, so it is a little bit tippy underfoot. So if you're after a bit more width, a bit more stability, RRD make Air Race SUPs in the slightly wider construction as well. Moving on to the pump, a really nice little pump with all the RRD orange and white colourways that they're having this year. It's a two-way pump, so it pumps air in on the up and down stroke, and then you can release it to just pump air on the down stroke when it gets hard. It's not the biggest of pumps to pump 300 litres of volume into the board, but it does pump it in about 3.5 to 4 minutes, depends how fit you are and how much you go for it. Really like, again, the styling, all in colourways, printed on RRD. It's just funky, it all looks really nice. So pump's great, small, but it does work well. The bag, the one thing we notice about all these top-end SUP brands like RRD is the bags are getting better and better, and they're all pretty similar, to be totally honest, but this is another quality bag. Very, very hard-wearing material with a waterproof layer on the inside. It's probably the toughest bag we've seen with the material so far. Big plastic zip, which is easy to do up and doesn't bind at any point. It's got breathable fabric on the side to let the air so your board doesn't go all misty and musty and mouldy. All the standard things you'd expect, you know, backpack, wheels, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, a good quality bag, not too heavy, so it's not, if you're going flying, it's not going to add too much weight on, and still enough room, and it's a nice big area so you can put your board in easily. So that's the most important thing we find. A board, it's something just goes in easily. Stiffness and how stiff the board was, where we put it through our deflection test, which we do on all our iSUPs, which is where we have a gap of 1.5 meters apart, and we put a weight of 75 kilograms in the center. This board dropped 15 millimeters, which is a very respectable drop. Other boards we've tested are the best ones, I think, around 11, and we've had them to about 18. So it's a very, very respectable stiff board. Any negatives to the V3 Air Race? The fin, it works okay, but it would be nice if it was a little bit better quality. I mean, we'd be buying this to go fast and go racing and join some racing circuits, and a plastic US box fin does the job, but I'd want something a little bit more quality. So that's something I'd be looking to upgrade. And the other thing is, depends on what sort of racing you're doing. If you're doing bob style racing or running in and out of the water with your board, an extra handle at the front here might be a benefit to some racers, but some people like the center handle, so that's a personal preference, just something to be aware of. So who do we think this board's best suited for? Well, it's going to be somebody weighing probably 55 to 85 kilograms, and it really is somebody who wants to paddle fast. You could use it on some general estuary cruising and river runs, but really, if you want to paddle fast and get in some racing, this will be a really good board to look at. The overall SUPboarder verdict for the RRD Air Race V3 is it's a board we're super happy to paddle, and it feels very fast underfoot. It's going to give you more than enough credibility to turn up to any races, and it'll easily keep up with any iSUP performance race SUP out there and other hard boards as well. Hope you guys found this board review interesting and informative, and remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel to stay up to date with our latest tuition and board reviews. And also there is other reviews on the SUPboardermag.com website, buoyant stays, wetsuits, paddle, there's all sorts of stuff on there, so we also do written reviews as well. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.